Okay, Dr. Bill. You know what the most annoying thing on television is?
Television.
Besides the stations.
Honey Boo Boo.
No, don't even mention her name. Make me sick. Nauseate me, Honey Boo Boo. My ass. No, you know, I mean, it's along with the fact that the networks deliberately jack up their volume when the commercials go on, which is extremely startling and annoying. But what else is very annoying are the car dealer and furniture store commercials. They are the stupidest. Most
car dealers, I agree, but
no, even the furniture stores.
What about Bob?
Oh, him? He's out of his mind, man.
He's got deals, don't he? $9.99 for a whole bedroom set.
Yeah, he's out of his mind. But anyway, no, I've seen others too. They're so ridiculously stupid. They try to be funny, but they do it in a corny, dumb sort of way.
How about the car ones when they get the chick on there and they say, "You will be satisfied." No,
they don't even do that anymore. Now they got cute young females with dimples singing, playing a acoustical guitar,
yeah.
Singing with the stupidest singing voice, singing the dumbest song. I don't know who wrote the song, and you know, they'll never make it on American Idol or the X Factor. They got a stupid voice, and they just sound ridiculous. But they're just the most annoying, stupid, asinine commercials ever.
Mm-hmm.
The furniture stores and car dealers, of course, they are among the sleaziest of business people. You know, bait and switch, and misrepresenting themselves, lying in advertising with the disclaimer and all that. But aside from that, I guess it's common knowledge that Barack Obama defeated Mitt Romney, which I'm happy for the sheer fact that Mitt Romney is not president of the United States. Thank God for that. But we still have the two-party system, but we have, unfortunately, the lesser of the two evils. I've been hearing that since I was a little kid. I know Jesse Ventura, he stated that he does not like to vote for the lesser of the two evils, but this is what we're forced up against for the simple reason is that the mainstream American media did not introduce us formally and allowed us to get to know the independent candidates, which there were many. We didn't get to know them at all because of the media. Of course, the media is controlled by the sponsors, which is corporations, big business.
And the media treats presidential elections like horse races. You know? And coming around the first turn, it's Mitt Romney, followed very quickly by Obama with his head up his ass.
So what you're saying is they make a spectacle out of it, they sensationalize it.
And guess what?
Like watching a Hollywood gossip show. What is it, Entertainment Tonight? You know, they make a big deal about what the stars are doing every minute of the day.
And guess what?
And guess what?
All the stump speeches, all the get-togethers, all the position papers, and everything tell us nothing about the candidates and their true stands, as was pointed out very clearly by Mitt Romney.
Yeah. Well, I also noticed global warming and the environment never came up in the debates at all. But,
no.
But that's only the tip of the iceberg, no pun intended. I think that, I don't know if Gary No came up with the idea or somebody else did, but getting, forming a new, not necessarily a new political party, but an independent party collectively made up of all of the primary independent candidates that are worthy of being elected, and getting them all together, whether it's Dennis Kucinich, Jesse Ventura, Jill Stein, Rocky Anderson, Libertarian,
Gary Johnson,
Mr. Johnson, Gary Johnson,
Dr. Bill.
Maybe, I don't know, is Ralph Nader completely retired?
I don't know about retired, but he ain't running.
He ain't running. But like getting them all together. The Reform Party combining with the Green Party, combining with whatever party. And in unity, there's strength. Like the Bible says, look to the ant. In numbers, there is power. I think it's an outstanding idea.
However,
but there's a however. Will the mainstream media invite a representative from this independent People's Party to the debates? And don't forget, 2014, the U.S. Congress will be up for election. So that should be a primary concern, to start now telling people, reminding Americans that if you want Barack Obama to keep his campaign promises from day one, he needs total cooperation. And the only way to do that is to fill the Congress and the Senate up with more Democrats and get rid of the filibuster. Make it a simple vote. If the Democrats outnumber Republicans in the Senate and they outvote Republicans on a bill, then let it be. It's written in stone. That's it. A simple vote. Majority vote. Same thing with the Congress. No more filibustering. This way, things will get done in Washington, finally, thank God.
You still got a problem, a big problem.
What's that?
Things will get done in Washington according to the wealthy and the corporations, no matter what collective parties are put together. Because that's the way it is.
The two-party system is set up. Hey, I guess that's why Monsanto won in California with the proposition. What proposition was that again?
37, I think.
Yeah, well, no matter how hard they tried in California to, campaigning and
to label GMOs,
holding meetings and rallies. This has to do with fair and honest labeling on the foods that we consume.
Something that should be automatic in anybody's thinking, especially concerning food.
Nutrients are on the label. Why not? Why not the fact that it's genetically modified? Why can't that be on the label?
Because people won't buy it.
Oh, my heart bleeds for Monsanto. Oh, but it's okay.
All their great work in the service of God, to feed the world's hungry.
So they're propagandists, they're stooges, shills, they're propaganda machine.
Moolah.
Their propaganda machine, backed by Moolah, succeeded in California and brainwashed people into believing their lies, that genetically modified foods are good for humanity, good for mankind, and are not harmful, and all this bullshit, all these lies. They won. So now what Gary's doing, bringing it to New York, where people really know how to fight for what's right. They're not a bunch of wussies and wimps. I mean, the people in the tri-state area will fight tooth and nail for something, and he will bring it into court with his very cagey, slick lawyers, and which is an outstanding. Actually, I listened to the show about him explaining that, including his new documentary that will be available in early December, exposing Monsanto and DuPont, and telling all about genetically modified foods, and the whole story will be in that new documentary coming up. And he was promoting it on one of his shows this week, and I made sure I posted it and reposted it, because it's very important that once this gets into the courts up here in the Northeast, it will be a different story than California, because I know a Californian, and he's like super passive and super laid back, like an old hippie, man. When it comes to going on the offense, he thinks everything on the offense is negative, and you know, and if you're pessimistic in any way, you're negative, and it's negative energy. Hey, that's the real world. It's about balance. If you don't have the negative side to human nature, then there's no fight in you. The heart that wins the battles is not there. You know, human psychology, you know, comparing it to that. So, you know, they're just not, they don't sink their piranha or crocodile teeth into a battle like they would do in New York City. So I think it's an excellent idea that he's bringing it to New York, and that's that. Well, just a
the
little.
The unfortunate problem is,
Yeah.
though, that it seems that if you had the dough and you hand it to the right people, you get your laws.
Right.
And then the people in a democracy
Yeah.
have to fight like hell to either prevent that from happening or to try to overturn the law. This should not be. Why is it so easy for the corporations and the wealthy to be able to do that?
Well, the American people.
And it's our fault, like your gentleman you were just explaining about. That's why this has happened.
Because there are too many pacifists in America without a backbone, and the fact that the mainstream American media, which is in bed with corporations also,
Of course they are
they
corporations.
they don't tell the American people the real truth. And a lot of people are momos. They only believe what's on nightly news, on their local nightly news.
Or on Fox.
Or on Fox. I mean,
Why, Fox was denying Obama's victory
Listen.
for days and days. Mr. Karl Rove, I mean, he still says that he didn't win. Oh, excuse me, he did say the other day, yeah, he won, but he's suppressing the vote. What the hell is this man talking about?
well, bonehead weeper of the house, John Boehner, he's crying that, you know, that he's not going to approve raising taxes on the rich. Well, what else is new? What do you expect from John Boehner?
Well, that's because those people, they bowed down to one person and one person alone, Mr. Grover Norquist. They shake in their boots at this one man who controls them all.
Piece of shit.
Piece of crap. The man is an idiot, but he's got them under his thumb. All of them. There's not one.
Is he the first one to reprimand a Republican for swaying a little bit to the moderate, into a moderate position, or showing compassion?
He and his minions will get rid of that person.
The stormtroopers, you mean?
What the hell do you call it when this guy puts out a pledge that he has all the conservative Republicans sign, and then the other Republicans, which you might call moderates or whatever, they sign too, out of fear for this one man, Grover Norquist.
Did you know that that people staying temporarily in FEMA camps in New York were ordered not to talk to the press at all?
Why?
It was on the Yahoo News. They were ordered not to speak to the press. The people.
FEMA put my niece up in a hotel because her house is gone, and I believe it is in Seaside.
Yeah. So why are these people in New York in a camp? It's interesting.
Where's the camp?
Somewhere in New York. I posted it on the group, political group. The details, you know, the article and everything.
Do they have heat? Do they have food? Do they have water?
They probably give them the instant food that the military gets, where you squeeze the packet in your mouth.
Yeah, well.
I have no idea, but just a little minor celebration that I know we still have the two-party system, but the celebration that we gained maybe a couple of Democratic seats in the Senate, and that
And 2 independents.
right, and then Mitt Romney did not win the election. So just a little celebration with my New Year's Eve party favor. That's it. slight
Ugh.
celebrations. Oh, let me, before I forget, let me formally pipe aboard my illustrious co-host and mentor, the Pope of the Internet himself, the founder of Newsletter Censored in 1977. Ahoy, matey, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Welcome aboard the Progressive Pirate Ship. How are you feeling this week, this Saturday?
Well, feeling good, but the problems are still here.
Well, the power's back.
Yes, the power is back. 5.5 days, freezing my ass off.
It was 5.5 days total.
That's correct.
Thank God.
There are still people here in Jersey without power.
That's true. People that are crying and desperate, please. You know, they're getting PSC&G bills through the mail, but they're not getting any electricity.
I received a robocall from PSC&G yesterday.
Yeah, what do they want?
They want to know if you have, people should report to them if they are not back online from like the, when they put it back for everybody.
Yeah.
If you yourself do not have power restored, they want to know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of robo calls.
But speaking of PSC&G,
yeah,
this was a wake-up call for people to understand that private industry cannot be depended upon in times of disaster. Government is needed.
and that includes wartime for the military personnel.
Well, of course, in wartime.
That includes that. Yeah, and that failed with Iraq and G.W. Bush privatizing, getting supplies to the troops.
Well, it didn't fail for those privatizers, though, did it?
Well, no.
Made them rich. And that's what it's all about. That's what we tend to forget with these idiots that run around about smaller government. I want smaller government so it doesn't spend my money and I won't have to pay so much taxes.
Oh, you mean like old turtle face Mitch the bitch McConnell?
Well, they're all in that. They're all in that collective.
All of them are, and but
the point is what people just don't grasp. These conservative governors and etc. fired all these teachers and firefighters and police, maybe about 3 million people.
Right.
Now, I did not see the figure the other day, the unemployment figure. It was 7.8. I think somebody said it was 7.9. I'm not sure. But if you count those 3 million people, public servants that were still working,
Right.
The unemployment figure would be maybe somewhere around 6%, 6 point something, whatever. You know, all the jobs that the military supports, the budget.
Yeah.
These people don't get this. Government does provide jobs. Necessary jobs in many cases.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? Private industry, people make a big mistake.
Yeah.
That they pin their survival on a private company?
Right.
And a private company can say to you, and they are saying to you, let's say you've been putting away a pension, getting a pension, whatever they pay for it, and you pay for the last 30 years. There's a case right now, and the judge is going to say, or did say, nah, for the company, nah, you only need to pay half of that. Private industry has too much power. It has too much goodwill in the government. It has too many tax breaks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It has all of these things and it is not loyal or patriotic. It can tomorrow up and move your job. The money that it, would pay for a city, town, whatever, and go to China.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And they do.
And we have pinned our survival on that kind of economic situation.
Well, that's the part the Republican politicians leave out when they talk about the job creators and versus the job killers. Sure, they're created, not in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They're outsourced.
Well, they're not totally lying, then, are they?
No, it's like the disclaimer in a car dealer commercial. They're not. Well, they're. It's like deregulation in a capitalist system. They take the truth and they distort it and they twist it and they exaggerate and they add a little or remove a little. Just like some people I know that I had a falling out with. Holistic health activists, so-called activists, that are afraid to put their face worldwide on internet talk radio and give their opinions, but they persecute me for being straight from the hip, honest about everything, and I try my best to. Well, actually, everything I say is based on truth, on fact. If anybody proves me a liar on anything I say, I will publicly apologize, and I would correct the statement. But people that have a spine and have some gumption in this world are persecuted. People that honestly believe in the original Constitution and the First Amendment, and but the main topic of this week's show is that it's really simple, and it's based on the election we just had. During the election, there were a couple states, there might have been more. In this case, I want to use Missouri and Nevada as an example. Dr. Bill, you know how people always accuse politicians of flip-flopping on the issues? Well, gee, don't throw stones in a glass house, American citizens, because you yourselves are just as guilty of flip-flopping. I'll tell you why. State of Missouri, they went for President Obama, but they no, I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. Okay, state of Missouri went for Mitt Romney, but the state of Missouri also voted back in their Democratic incumbent. I'm not sure, was she a senator or a congresswoman, but they had an election and voted back in the Democratic incumbent. I believe it was Congress. All right, and then the state of Nevada, which surprisingly this time went for President Obama, voted back in.
I didn't see that.
Voted back in.
Are you sure about that? Because I just read Time magazine and I see Nevada did not vote for Obama. Could be wrong, but that's what I think I saw.
Well, before I went to bed, they had said that
well, that was a couple of days ago. Florida finally voted for Obama. Okay?
Somebody made a joke about Florida and said they will stop counting probably by the 2016 election. Florida's a trip, man. Florida's... well, what's with that state, man? Are they slow? I mean...
I don't think they put money into the thing. I think what they get is they get... Well, I don't know. I don't know whether they pay their volunteers or what. I imagine they do. They do here in Jersey. Well, you can make $200 for the all day at the election center.
Well, getting back to what I was saying, before I went to sleep on election day, Nevada was for Obama, but they voted back in their Republican whatever, senator, I think it was, flip-flop, flip-flop. Americans voted for Obama in 2008, and 2 years later, they voted in a Republican Congress. Flip-flop, flip-flop. So you people are just as guilty as flip-flopping as the politicians. I mean, if you want the guy that you vote for president, if you want his bills to pass and you want him to fulfill his campaign promises, at least vote in a Senate and a Congress that will cooperate with him and allow him to get his laws passed. But definitely the filibuster must be busted up and must go.
It could be.
I mean,
It could be tomorrow.
it's important because, you know, the
but,
the gridlock's going to continue because the Senate doesn't have, the Democrats in the Senate do not have 60 votes on their side to break a filibuster. Is that correct?
Correct.
And of course the Congress is still controlled by Republicans. So
But-
we are still in the same position we were before.
But if the filibuster question can be attached to a revenue bill or some kind of money bill, and it can pass by a simple majority, or if it's 50-50, Biden would break the tie. That happened 5 times under George W. Bush. Medicare Part D, that millstone around our neck, was voted in because of Cheney breaking the tie.
Okay.
There are ways to do these things. Nobody has the heart to do them. And just as an aside, back to you were mentioning car dealers or something like that. You know, after this disaster, you're going to find a lot of used cars for sale that were flooded. And your pals, those used car salesmen, are going to be doing a damn good job trying to get rid of those suckers.
You mean after they dry up?
Well, yeah, they'll be dry, but will they be back in regular condition? I doubt it.
Do we have the lemon law?
Can we all say lemons?
Do we have the lemon law in the state of New Jersey? Or
We do, but you got to jump through so many hoops, it's pathetic.
What about the lemon law in the state of New York? Do you have to jump through hoops?
Everywhere.
So there's a catch to the lemon
There's
law.
always a catch for the consumer. That's what I'm saying. It goes back to, like I said, if you are a big company, corporation, or wealthy or something, and you want a bill passed, all you do is give a couple of bucks to the right guy, and there, you got your law.
So
But let a consumer need a law. Forget about it. You saw what they tried to do to Elizabeth Warren when she was going to the consumer protection thing.
yeah.
Oh, the Republicans, they put a stop on that real quick. Put the kibosh.
The kibosh.
I'm
the
glad she won in
kibosh.
Massachusetts, though, but it's still not enough. Still not enough.
So the lemon law will actually leave a sour taste in your
Tasty
mouth.
enough. Yes, you are. Unless you put a little stevia on there.
It's a little stevia or lo han quo, the monk fruit. Well, these individuals that I had a big falling out with, because they don't appreciate my straight from the hip shooting honesty on the air, and they don't appreciate the fact that I defend myself and I don't take any guff from anybody. But because it was a man arguing with a female, and they how they O.J. Simpson's lawyers played the race card. Well, these two activist ladies, and I'll use that term loosely because there's two sides to every story. These two activist ladies played the weaker sex card. Oh, he's a bully, he's picking on me, he's negative, he's this, he's that. Because I dare to be a man with a titanium backbone that's not afraid to defend what's right, what's true, and open my mouth. So what did they do? They tried to blackball me online. But what did they do that put the icing on the cake? They, or one of them, sent information to Mr. Gary No, who I hold in very high esteem since the 1980s. And I look up to him, idolize him, and he should be idolized and held in high esteem for everything he's doing, everything he has done. They sent information to him, and lo and behold, today I find a very unpleasant message, typed out message from Mr. Gary No to me. So they got me on his blacklist now without even both sides of the story being heard, because one of them happens to be a friend of Mr. No. So, you know, now one of the people I admire is pretty pissed off at me, and I forward the information, you know, well, I'll talk to William J. Eisman, PhD, off the air. But anyway, it's very, very sad, very disturbing, because there are two sides to every story.
I thought these things were remedied.
No, but this person's being very vindictive, and I
thought they withdrew.
I know, I thought so too. I did tell this individual off for just reasons, but the individual was so obnoxious and big mouth and went on and on and on about it. I just blew my cool, and I really told her off. Okay, and she didn't like it. Like I said, she played the weaker sex card. Ooh, the big meanie, the big mean bully boy male here is attacking me. Oh, but a man can't defend himself. So I went off on her, and of course she had me blackballed. Now Gary Knows is very upset with me, to say the least. And you know, first of all, for a rant, the definition of a rant is basically a complaint, right? More or less.
In essence.
It's a form of complaint. Now, if somebody's rants are without merit and without truth and without fact, then they would be merely hot air. If somebody's rants are based on the truth without lying, then they will be basically information given in a complaining way, and not necessarily considered to be toxic or negative. If they're based on truth, like for instance, the proposition that got voted down in California, it's enough to make people pissed off, and it's worthy of ranting about. If you have rants that are based on true facts, they're not toxic and negative. But because a woman was yelled at and told off, and they just went on and on and on and tried to blackball me, and this is what happens, and this is what is new this weekend. Very shocked. I mean, I don't know what to say, you know, but all I got to say is, like my friend that from Montreal, Canada, that has many groups on Facebook, he says, James, let it go, life goes on, and you know,
that's what I thought took place.
Continue to do what you do. Do it the best you can, and I will continue to be an outspoken person. I will continue to be an activist that goes on the internet.
And are you sure?
And I will shoot my mouth off,
like I always do. Are you sure this letter came from the person in question? Because if I were the person in question, I would not put myself in the middle.
Well, you're talking about the message I found today?
I'm talking about the message you said came from.
Came from an individual.
Mr. GN.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
It came...
I would not assume that it came from him because, as I said, he's the kind of person, and I'm the kind of person who would not put myself in the middle
You mean
of some.
into a he said, she said?
Correct. Correct.
Well, I'm a little surprised that a man so busy,
That's correct too.
so busy as Mr. Gary know, with so many important projects,
That's
would take the time to get involved in a squabble.
right. That's a clue too.
Based on, especially a squabble from a very loud, abrasive, obnoxious, gossiping yenta type of a woman, and to automatically a pestering woman who emails the man continuously and bugs him.
I don't know. The last time I heard, that man had 35,000 emails. And he only reads several a day because he doesn't have the time. So how he got, her email
Yeah.
up in the front of all the others,
Unless
that doesn't seem kosher.
why would the ranting and the pestering of a motor mouth 60-year-old woman who happens to have connections and went to his camp in was it Naples, Florida? Yeah, on the Gulf Coast of Florida, and I got to know him there. How would this person, who just bugs him to death, how could she take him away from his super busy schedule
I don't know.
to type this
But
out?
anyway-
And why would he be so quick to automatically believe one side in a he said, she said? Now he claimed that he read my rants. Well, if my rants are proven to be lies, tell me, and I will straighten
wait a minute.
out
When he rants, he could be referring to
anything.
personal attacks or something. These, have nothing to do with truth.
No, well, if somebody makes a big stink out of me disagreeing with one thing, just one thing Mr. Null said on the air, just to disagree, not disrespect, disagreeing, and she went off on me to high heavens, almost like she was an obsessed groupie.
Well, that's one man's opinion, and
Right.
Another
Look,
man's opinion.
the point is, even in relationships and couples that go for counseling, there's always two sides to every story. And please, people, get the facts from all sides before you make a decision. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But am I going to stop shooting my mouth off and fighting for what's right? Hell no. If I'm wrong, you can disagree with me. If you feel I'm wrong, you can disagree with me. The way Vinny Artali Jr. disagreed with me profusely when I had him on my show. I didn't scream at him. I didn't curse. I respect his right to voice his opinion. In his supposed free country. But if I'm wrong and you prove I'm wrong, I'll apologize. Okay, but I always, number one, I believe in the absolute factual truth. That's it. Enough said. Case closed. We'll try to bang out 1 or 2 articles before your lunch.
One, my gosh, yeah.
I know. It's just,
Good Lord, man.
it's post-election day show. I mean.
Visa Incorporated and MasterCard Incorporated
Oh, they suck.
proposed a $7.25 billion settlement of a merchant fee price-fixing case received preliminary approval by a federal judge in Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
U.S. District Judge John Gleeson made his ruling on Friday after considering arguments by retailers opposed to the deal. The judge's decision allows the plaintiffs to begin signing up the more than 7 million retailers that might be eligible to participate. Estimated to be the largest ever private antitrust settlement, the deal would end a 7-year-long case alleging that the card companies conspired with major banks to fix interchange or swipe fees assessed to merchants when customers pay with plastic.
Oh, right.
Why aren't they in jail?
Why aren't they in jail? Why aren't they in jail? Oh, but it's okay to arrest protesters.
Fines mean nothing to big companies. These were criminal activities, just as the financial meltdown involved criminal activities.
Or Goldman Sachs.
And what did we do? We threw tens of trillions of dollars at Wall Street and none to Main Street.
Main Street gets screwed. This is a Blackthorn imported Irish shillelagh. Helps me emphasize things. And there's a lot to emphasize these days.
In an October 24th order, the judge said the deal would likely meet requirements for the initial sign-off. A threshold, he said, is meaningfully lower than that of a later final approval. Still, lawyers for the opponents were hopeful they could change his mind, given that there are provisions in the deal allowing some elements they claim are unfair to go into effect at the preliminary stage. In court papers, retailers and trade associations opposing the settlement amount, including $6.05 billion in cash payments and a temporary interchange fee abatement, say it falls far short of the damages plaintiffs might have recovered at trial. Plaintiffs could have won as much as $300 million.
Wow.
If the case had been fully litigated and the court awarded triple damages as permitted under antitrust law. A lawyer for one group of objectors said in an October 18th filing, referring to an August analysis by Georgetown University law professor Adam Levitin, the proposed settlement is far south of this number. Not even 10% of the potential recoverable damages should this case be tried. During the hearing in Friday, in a standing room only courtroom, Patrick Coughlin, a lawyer for plaintiffs in favor of the settlement, said some large merchants oppose the deal because they are planning to start a competing payment network, the Merchant Customer Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
The exchange, or the MCX, was formed by merchants including Target Corporation, Walmart Stores Incorporated, which also oppose the settlement.
Ah. Well, if you have one locally in your neighborhood, put all your money into a credit union bank. Take them out of the big boys. If you have it in
All banks should be public,
yeah.
just like all utilities, all things concerning food, all things concerning oil, all things concerning all the necessaries of life.
Medical, healthcare.
Medical, health.
Once you start,
Nothing to private industry except those things that, if I want an iPad, I'll buy an iPad. I don't need an iPad to live and survive.
yeah, once you start putting making profit into necessities of life, a lot of people suffer by it.
Speculating.
And it's always the little guy that suffers. The poor, the middle class, of course, you all know, well, I don't think you all know because you keep on voting for Republicans, like in the Congress and Senate, but it was the Republican patron saint, Ronald Reagan, that shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor, okay? It wasn't any Democrats that did it. And here's your patron saint, Tea Party morons, lemmings, Ronald Reagan urinating on the United States of America. Reaganomics, trickle-down Reaganomics, is pissle-down Reaganomics. In reality, it is siphon up to the 1% economics, because the money is siphoned up, not trickling down. Trickle-down economics is a lie. It never worked, and I don't think it was ever meant to work. And there's your hero. All right,
By the way,
get mad if you want. I don't care.
Back to your
Yes.
You were saying before about elect a Congress and a Senate that's going to work with your president.
Right.
Well, just imagine if FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt,
Yes.
had a Republican Congress and Senate.
Oh, gee.
We wouldn't have Social Security today.
And then where would
What if Mr. Johnson had a Republican Senate and Congress? We wouldn't have Medicare today. Or welfare, or etc.
So it was
social
never the conservative leader that did anything for the poor. It was always the more progressive, liberal, democratic leader that did good things for the poor,
What we consider good things, yes.
for the average person.
Yeah.
So Republican, like my grandfather was right, even though my Uncle Phil used to call him a pinko commie.
Well, that's why, because he was right.
My grandfather, John, the late John Nicolosi, said that, he worked for Curtis Rice Corporation in most of his life, too. He had a good job there. Anyway, he said that a Democrat, more or less, will give you some crumbs. But a Republican a conservative Republican will give you absolutely nothing.
Because
And he was right. My uncle said, "Don't listen to your grandfather. He's talking commie pinko talk." But he was right.
commie pinko top is when you start talking about the people. To them.
Just like, not
Okay.
just my grandfather, just like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X,
And what did
Reverend
J.
Al
Edgar
Sharp-
Hoover call him? A commie.
the Reverend Al Sharpton, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. These men, later in life, I come to realize that these men were all correct. They were all right. And they got persecuted for speaking the truth.
Because the constituency of the Republican Party are the corporations and the wealthy.
Right.
The constituency of, let's say, if there are real progressives or liberals amongst the Democratic Party, are the people. It's a clear choice.
Right.
Now, what has happened over the years, with the great propaganda campaign that they have, the Republicans have turned the people, their supporters,
Mm-hmm.
are coming from the populace, the people, the red states.
Well, they vote.
Those who vote not their interest.
No, they vote not their interest. They vote
The interest of the corporations and
based
the
on
wealthy.
they vote.
The billionaires and millionaires.
Yeah, they vote the interests of the fat cats, and they vote based on ideology and a false religious cult.
Well, yeah.
That has nothing to do with what's in the Bible. But was there an article this week, the end of this week, about something concerning limiting accessibility to certain voters? It was something in the news about that was kind of racist.
Kind of racist. They were trying to stop the votes. They were trying to, suppress the Hispanics, the blacks,
Yeah,
the women.
that's it.
From you saw people standing in line 7 hours. You know how long it takes to vote in Brazil?
How long?
15 minutes.
You know how long it took me to vote? Not
In
long,
here?
Not long at all.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. I was in and out.
Yeah.
Of course, I went at the right time. I didn't go early in the morning when all the senior citizens crowd in there. I didn't go after 5 when everybody gets out of work and crowds in there.
I think it's between 1 and 2 you get a good
That's
shot.
exactly where I went. When I
Good
went in.
shot at it.
I was in. I signed my signature, John Hancock, and I went in and I already knew about the questions. There was only 2 questions.
Yeah.
All right, I voted yes. The one about the bond,
The big spender, you? You're a big spender.
Yeah, I'm a big spender. Oh, before we take our break,
Yeah.
which happens to be the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight known as lunch, followed by his supplements, I believe,
Soon.
soon.
And my tea.
These two gentlemen are a new addition.
That gentleman's feet are backwards.
Hold on. These two gentlemen, which are leftovers from Halloweeny,
Which we didn't have this year.
which we didn't really have. I got no trick-or-treaters, but nobody came. This is Captain Barnacle of Billy Bones, and this is Mr. La Parka, the End Time Brothers, End of Days Brothers, and they're here as a reminder that this is what the masses and the poor particularly have in store for them in the end times, which is death. If Monsanto wins and all you have is toxic food to consume from your wonderful supermarkets, this is what you will look like, unless the tribulation gets you. The end time brothers, end of days. They're symbolic and they rattle so nice.
By the way, what was the new conspiracy theory on?
Some kind of alien, half human and half reptilian alien creatures that live deep in the ground that have mated with humans, and the royal family is part of this race.
Is that up on?
That's Jesse Ventura's first show.
Give me the link to that.
I'll give you the link to that. I was a little.
Check this out. You know,
I didn't know what to say. I was a little shocked.
Flummox, yeah.
But Jesse was not quick to believe it.
Well, I hope not.
He tried to debunk it, but I hope Jesse starts doing shows about New World Order and our government and the corruption in big business and politics. I hope Jesse doesn't do all this alien silly stuff.
They caught a hacker.
Yeah.
Who hacked into some military or whatever stuff, okay? And he said he had found out things about aliens.
In other words, does this person believe in Roswell? The Roswell story?
I have no idea. This person has been shut up.
Just like the people in New Mexico who were witnesses to Roswell, they were visited by the military and told to dummy up.
If they didn't dummy up, they'd get a dummy up.
Like Archie Bunker used to say to the
dummy
meathead.
Up, meathead.
Dummy up, meathead. Okay, let's take our break. I just wanted to make sure I introduced the two.
Yeah, I'm sure they were waiting their turn very patiently.
Yeah. Now, if they start talking,
then you're in trouble.
I'm running out the door. Well, Dr. Bill, this female friend of mine posted this close-up photo of her freshly pedicured toes with a deep red nail polish. That's my favorite color, is deep red, like a fire engine red or ruby red. And so I left a message saying to her, is there any toe cheese in there? And she
I'm eating.
And she commented, she says, the person who gives me a pedicure does an outstanding job and massages my feet and cleans it up. She says, my feet are so clean you can eat off it.
What is this, a foot fetish or something here?
So my reply was, if I had a foot fetish, that wouldn't be a bad idea. So she kind of set me up for that, you know. But they look clean, but you know, her toes were spread. That's why I mentioned what I mentioned. You know, she like deliberately spread them out.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
People are funny. They post all sorts of things online.
Yeah, things they shouldn't. They come back to haunt them.
That's true. Come back to bite them
Employers,
on the arse.
look at your Facebook pages, MySpace, Twitter, etc.
What a person does
Ah,
their
those
own-
days are gone.
on their own. If there's any upper management or proprietary owners of a company or CEOs that stumble upon this video, this show, read my lips and look into my shillelagh. I'm serious. What a person does on their own time after they punch out and leave, expedite company property, is their business and their business alone, and is none of your damn business what people do at home on their own time and what they do when they go on Facebook or MySpace or Twitter. It's none of your damn business. They're not on company time. If you have an employee, my answer to Dr. Bill, if you have an employee who has a fetish, you know what, and they enjoy it, it's none of your fucking business. Employers.
Remember, every phone call, every on the computer, etc., is listened to by the NSA. There's no more privacy today.
Hey, many things annoy me. I can't, you know, I'm not going to bite my tongue. You think I like this greedy, corrupt capitalism where
Unchristian. Add that too.
unchristian,
Because there are people.
unpatriotic in some
And
cases.
unpatriotic. There are
Capitalism.
people who actually believe that they are living Christian lives. And they would like to foist their laws and ideas of that Christian life on others
Well,
who don't believe like them.
Well, didn't Mitt Romney say that he is going to pray for re-elected President Barack Obama and his family?
And my question was, which God is he going to pray to?
Well, since he is a very integral part of his church, and I also heard rumors that Mitt Romney was a pastor,
Bishop.
a bishop. Oh my God, him a bishop? Bain Capital. He decided that Barack Obama needs him to pray for him. You know, I mean, you look. People need to pray heavy duty if Republicans were in charge of Washington, because the poor, if Republicans are in charge of Washington and the world, and the corporate plutocracy is in total control with their fascism, this is what the poor and the masses have to look forward to. All right? You're going to look like these guys, the end time boys, end of days brothers.
We have a very serious problem in this country concerning that stuff.
Yeah.
We have people who believe that their faith, church, religion, whatever, is the one that they would like to foist on us. And they want to do that through laws, etc.
Okay.
But in doing so, they forgot the most important part of all that.
What?
The first duty that a person has in their religion, if they have a deity that they say they worship,
And they can prove that their deity exists.
is to prove that their deity exists.
And no one in the history of recorded mankind, well, not recorded mankind, I shouldn't really say that, but nobody today can prove that their God exists. Now, of course, the evangelical, born-again, holy rollers that like to force, the fundamentalists that like to force their religion on you, down your throat, and down your kid's throat, they would get offended and say, what do you mean no one can prove their God exists? Or what about a seed turning into a big tree? What about a fertilized egg turning into a human being? Ugh. They're so anti-science. They think everything is either God or the devil. They think everything is like a miracle of creation. It's like, you're still not proving what Dr. Bill just said. And by the way, abortion is not in the Bible. So as far as me being told that a fertilized egg is a human being, no, sorry to burst your bubble.
Even if it was. Since man was allowed to go his own way after the Garden of Eden, using their religious illustrations, we're allowed to make our own laws. Not their laws.
Yeah, true.
If they want to make laws, first of all, the law of God, 10 Commandments, etc., is not for the righteous. It's for the unrighteous. Okay? So when they think that they are obeying the law, they are using vanity, pride. I am obeying the law, but you aren't.
So the people that feel...
And I will save your ass by making a law that you will obey the law.
So the people that feel they must go out and minister and bear witness and proselytize
convert by the sword,
and save your soul by bugging you and handing you religious tracts, and this is all about vanity. These are the people who believe in the immortal soul that flies out of your body, instead of people dying and waiting to be resurrected and judged. And they believe all kinds of things. They believe there's a waiting place, before judgment, like a place of torment and a place of pleasure. Not pleasure, but a nice place called
paradise, purgatory, hell and heaven.
Paradise. They believe in the place of torment, like Dante's Inferno. And then when you ask them to prove it and show you the Bible verses, they change the subject, or they tell you, oh, it's in there. Oh, it's in there. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Instead of talking shit,
no man
show it to us.
Has ascended to heaven except he who came down. No man
is with the Father.
Period. They're dead.
Taking the
dirt sleep.
The great dirt sleep.
Until the resurrection and judgment.
Well, the word for hell simply means the grave in the Bible.
Hades, Greek word.
Right, and you said
Sheol.
The word
the Hebrew.
Sheol, Nephish.
Nephish has to do with the soul.
It's the same as refers to a dead animal compared to a dead human. Sheol, Nephish.
No, Sheol is hell. That's
Sheol is hell. Nephish is the life energy, which is the soul. Now, is there a part of the Bible where it says, "Fear not who can kill the body and not the soul, but fear who can destroy both body and soul in hell"?
In the grave.
But they were talking about the grave.
Yeah, because the word hell was translated from the word Hades.
Right. And not this Dante's Inferno.
There is no heaven and hell in the traditional concept.
Right.
None in the Bible. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, there are three heavens. The environment, atmosphere that we live under, outer space, and in the north, God's heaven.
Okay.
Okay? That's three heavens. And
Which-
no man,
Which is like another dimension, almost.
no man has ascended into heaven except he who came down.
So we are.
He who was a God, a spirit being before, he was begotten in the womb of Mary and became a human being so that he could understand. It's like, you got to understand, God is an alien. Get that through your heads. He's an alien. He doesn't understand human
Right.
feelings and things that go on in a human being.
And there's no sin.
And that's why. What do you mean there's no sin? Sin is the
No,
transgression of the law.
I mean the this spirit, the Creator, cannot accept sin. That's why he was begotten through immaculate conception.
He was begotten that way so that he could become human.
Right.
And then he would come, and then he would pay this, with his death, pay the sin tax, which is death, for all who would eventually believe on him and, want to be
You're
resurrected
talking about
into
the
spirit beings.
spirit beings. You're talking about the original sin of Adam and Eve. Is the sin that was paid
No,
for.
the original sin, my friend, was undertaken by Lucifer and the third of the angels. They sinned first in destroying this earth, covering it with water and darkness, which God, in Genesis 1 verse 2 and Psalm 104 verse 30, had to renew the face of the earth 6,000 years ago. The earth, my religious fundamentalist evangelical friends, was not created 6,000 years ago. It was created millions and millions of years ago. The surface had to be renewed because it was toho and boho, which means waste and empty and chaotic. And that's what the devil did. Lucifer, who was first here on the earth. Jude. Read Jude.
So all these counterfeit Christians, these evangelicals, they don't know their Bible that well, do they?
No, they don't. They don't know it at all.
Okay, I got
Revelation 12:9, they are deceived.
the whole world.
The whole world is deceived,
Well,
except the elect.
the 144,000 that are going to rule at
The
Jerusalem.
first fruits. Jesus was the first fruit. They will be the second fruits, I guess. I don't know if they're bananas or oranges or apples, but
Yeah.
they are the first fruits or the second fruits. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, your traditional Christians and everything know nothing about this stuff. And they are denied the other keys to Bible understanding, such as, who are the modern-day descendants of ancient Israel, the 10 lost tribes? We have Jews in the world today, from the tribe of Judah and Benjamin. We have them in the world today, even though Hitler and everything tried to kill them off the face of the earth. We still have them today. But does anybody know where the modern-day descendants of the 10 tribes are?
And the evangelicals will never tell you this.
They don't know it.
It's
It's a key that is denied them.
Great Britain and the United States are modern-day descendants of
So are many others, like the Scandinavian countries,
Ephraim and Manasseh.
Luxembourg, etc. But that's the point. If you have Jews in the world today, why don't you have descendants of the modern day, the ancient 10 tribes? They've got to be here somewhere. They were lost to history once they got out of their captivity with Assyria.
And
they moved northwest.
And they're all...
to the Isles. To the Isles. You know what is northwest to the Isles from Assyria?
Great Britain.
Correct.
David's throne?
That's another key to Bible
Is in London. Was the royal family in London of England. David's modern day descendants of David's throne.
Because that is the throne that Jesus will occupy when he comes here.
And these 10 tribes are cursed, correct?
Yeah, now, but they were blessed.
So, right.
According to Abraham's
All right.
promises that God gave to him.
Now,
they were blessed.
Now, since they're under a curse, how can these holy roller, born-again fundamentalists, evangelicals, how can they just have conversations with God during the day and night and ask him for things like he was a genie or Santa Claus and pray for every little thing and talk to him
They can't.
if we're under a curse?
They're cut off from him. They can't. Jesus does not pray for this world, and he does not hear their prayers. Sorry. I'll give you the number again. 144,000.
That's it.
What do we got in the world today? 7 billion?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I got a message from conservative politicians and the 1% corporate CEO fat cats. A message.
Try 30%. Give them all the blame.
30%.
Yeah, 30% of people are doing well.
Are doing well.
American
There's a message for America's poor, and I guess poor the whole planet Earth, the poor.
Yeah.
It's like a robotic sound, very cold.
We are here to kill you. We are here to kill you. We are here to kill you.
Gee, it sounds like we are here to kill you. Interesting. Interesting indeed.
I wouldn't put it past.
Okay, back to the readings.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Let's sink our teeth into some readings, because we had plenty of banter.
Really? Oh my
A
Lord.
little levity. I ring these bells when something funny is said.
Now let's do a little election stuff, okay?
Sure. Well, it's a post-election show.
Karl Rove and his investors were the biggest losers on election day.
Really?
The Republican strategists created the model for outside money groups that raised and spent more than $1 billion on the Tuesday elections, many of which saw almost no return for their money. Rove, through his two political outfits, American Crossroads and Crossroads Grassroots Policy Strategies, backed unsuccessful Republican presidential contender Mitt Romney with $127 million on more than 82,000 television spots. According to Cantor Media's CMAG, an ad tracker based in New York, down the ballot, 10 of the 12 Senate candidates and 4 of the 9 House candidates the Rove Group supported also lost their races. Right now, there is stunned disbelief that Republicans fared so poorly after all the money they invested. If I had won 1/100th of Karl Rove's money, I would have been more productive than he was. Donald Trump posted a message on Twitter saying, "Congrats to Karl Rove on blowing $400 million this cycle. Every race, Crossroads GPS ran ads in the Republicans lost. What a waste of money." Jonathan Collegio, a Crossroads spokesman, declined to comment. And Rove could not be reached. Rove argued Thursday that Romney lost in part because President Obama outspent him on television when outside groups are taken into the equation. This shows that money does matter in politics, Rove said. In hindsight, Romney should have used his resources to defend himself because that isn't the strong suit of groups like Crossroads, Rove said. Obama aired more than twice as many ads on local broadcast and national cable as Romney during the general election. However, when outside groups such as the ones Rove steers are added in, each side had about the same number of ads on television. The election day results showed Rove's strategy of bringing in huge donations from a few wealthy benefactors and spending that money almost completely on television advertising failed. The Center for Responsive Politics estimates the two Crossroads groups spent about $176 million, making them the top non-candidate and non-party spenders of the election. Rove has bragged of raising more than $300 million for his groups. American Crossroads, a super political action committee, discloses its contributors and spending to the Federal Election Commission. Its affiliate, Crossroads GPS, is organized as a non-profit social welfare group that conceals its donors and reports only a fraction of its political activities. Non-profits, number one, are not supposed to get involved in politics.
No, just like religion, religious leaders are not supposed to get involved in politics.
Correct.
Otherwise, tax them. Make them pay taxes.
If the rule in politics is you win or lose by the election results, Karl Rove is a big-time loser. Still, Karl Rove certainly knows how to make a lot of money for political consultants and TV stations. Democrats also piled on. If Crossroads were a business and Rove was the CEO, he'd be fired for getting a poor return on his investment. The return on investment for American Crossroads donors was 1%, according to an analysis by the Sunlight Foundation. For donors to sister organization Crossroads GPS, the success rate was 13%. That's a lower return than for donations to the National Republican Congressional Committee and to the two major Democratic congressional super PACs. Americans for Prosperity, founded 10 years ago by industrial billionaires David and Charles Koch, didn't have much of a better night than the Rove groups. The nonprofit group raised and spent $140 million this year. It bought about $34 million in TV ads, attacking Obama and urging people to vote him out. Its $14 million purchase of TV ads in Senate races also turned up few victories. Sheldon Adelson, whose family $53.4 million investment in federal candidates and outside groups made him 2012's top donor, did not give money to American Crossroads. Yet he too saw his preferred elected officials swept away. He's a big casino owner in Las Vegas. These people have no business in our elections except to vote. No money, only to vote. It's the only right they have.
That's true, and everybody should have the right to vote and not be discouraged from voting.
Well, as I've said many times in the past.
Even disabled people, seniors. If I don't care if they're 100 years old, they should be able to vote.
Well, you know, that's what Al Sharpton and those used to do on the I guess it was Monday. I guess it was maybe the day of the election. Anyway, it would souls to the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And they get a big bus and they take the people to the polls, you know, from the church. You know?
Yeah, you mean the shut-ins, the people that don't.
The people who went to the church.
The people that, well, people that had trouble getting out and about
Of course, there is
on their own.
There is, the ballots that you can. What the hell? The absentee ballots for people like that.
The mail-in.
Yeah, there's no reason why they can't vote. But the reason is that they would not vote is because they would be denied a vote by the Republicans, which they tried to do. You know, super uber this election cycle. Doctors
Yeah.
who order tests for hospital patients do not always read the results before the patient is discharged, raising the risk of missing potentially dangerous conditions. About half of the unread tests were ordered on the day the patient left the hospital, according to research. NYU Langone Medical Center said it changed policies last month after a 12-year-old boy died following his discharge from the hospital's emergency room. Doctors did not follow up on blood tests taken before the boy left, indicating he was sepsis.
Oh boy, he was septic, blood infection.
And he died later from septic shock. The study shows that doctors need to better manage the tests they order, including using electronic alerts, and that patients should follow up and make sure they get results.
So this boy could have gotten intravenous antibiotic in time to save him. So this is malpractice.
Well, yeah, in that particular case, but what's the cause?
Suppressed immune systems.
The cause of why the doctor would not read results of tests that he ordered.
There's no excuse. As a physician, he should know better.
Know better. But do they do better?
No.
Because they're businessmen. They are not physicians.
And this is the problem when you combine necessities of life, like health care,
as a business,
as a capitalist free enterprise business. They have no business being a profit-making organization.
Just as government is not a business. Mr. Romney believed because he was a CEO, he would make a good president for the government. But government is not a business.
Does Chris Christie deep down believe that if Mitt Romney was president instead of Barack Obama, that New Jersey would have been attended to so well, so fast?
Unless it was
quickly?
A great PR stunt, Mr. Romney would have been like Mr. G.W. Bush. Hands off. Fend for yourself.
Bush did not.
Poor bastards.
Bush did not walk around to console the Hurricane Katrina victims or help dish out food or hot coffee or tea or whatever. Like Bush did not rub elbows with the victims of Katrina. Is that true?
You hear what his mommy said?
That was her advice, by the way. Barbara Bush,
Yes, the people who were at the stadium there, this was a step up from them, baby.
the people who slept on the football field
Yeah.
of the New Orleans Superdome, it was a big favor to them. It was a step up
Yeah.
for them compared to because they were poor where they used to live.
Correct.
So they should be thankful they're sleeping on a football field in a Superdome. Meanwhile, she's in a mansion eating the best food, 3
Yeah.
square meals a day, and you know.
But the Republicans do not believe in the government helping in that way.
Yeah, because they believe, the Republicans believe that the elitists are better than everyone else.
Well, it's also the fact that they want smaller government. Smaller government means weaker government. Weaker government means that the people are not involved in it.
And
therefore it's easier to take over by the big corporations and the wealthy.
Right, and like disarming the public, taking their arms away,
Correct.
taking their
Taking the vote away. That's your arms, baby.
constitutional right to vote, constitutional right to bear arms. They want to disarm you. They want to take away your freedoms. And well, their motive for doing all this is greed, I guess.
Well, it's power. They want
power.
to be in power. You know? And to keep themselves in power, they have to support the big boys.
That's probably why people in mainland China, your average Chinese citizen, has no options but to work for some slave-driving company that pays him 32 cents an hour,
Of course.
like Foxconn. There's no options for them.
Right.
So when you hear about China's booming economy, it's not one of those 2 billion people that live in China, your average folk. I'm sure it's not.
No, it's only, I think, some 30 million or something. You know, living what you call the high life.
The high life. You hear that, people that are living high on the hog? The elitists, including the ones in the United States, including somebody I know. There's going to be plenty of room in that lake of fire, brother.
Ooh.
So I hope you have plenty of summer wear.
Ashes under the feet of Jesus.
Even though you're not going to be able to take your summer wear with you or your money. There was a funny photo of Donald Trump's hair getting blown up by the wind. Talk about oh my God! It's I'll make sure you see it. It's hilarious. You know how stupid his hair looks anyway? Well, just picture his hair blown in different directions by the wind.
Through this study, by identifying the key role of tests close to and on discharge day, we now have a real opportunity to directly deal with this problem of missed test results, because its cause and cure is now much clearer. Researchers looked at 6,736 inpatient admissions and 662,858 individual medical tests. Of those tests, 3% were not reviewed at discharge. 7% were requested on the day the patient was leaving the hospital. Now that means that was just making money for the hospital and for the doctor. Because if the person was being discharged, what difference did the test make?
Ringing up a bell.
What are you going to do? Hey, you want to come back to the hospital? You know, you got you're a little anemic. You know, I just got the test back.
Turn around and come back.
Yeah, come on back. Anemic, okay? No, B12. No, don't listen to that shit. Just come back.
Reminds me of the local hospital here, Hackensack University Medical Center. They have signs, big signs in huge letters that it was ranked the #1 hospital in the Northeast. But then if you read all the reviews online, people are cursing them out left and right, saying they only care about profit, they don't care about people, they don't care about the well-being of the patients, they just want to make money. Hey, that's probably why the first words out of a Hackensack hospital employee's mouth is before they even get to hear your full name. You have insurance? What kind of insurance do you have?
One thing I know,
First thing out of their mouth.
people have to jump through hoops to get charity care there, that's for sure.
They have to wait a long time for their charity care card at Hackensack University Medical Center. And at other hospitals, I know for a fact that you get your charity care card lickety-split. You know, like, let's see, Holy Name in Teaneck,
Bergen Regional?
Bergen Regional Medical Center in Paramus, and you get it quick. You meet the requirements, they process it, and you get it in the mail in a timely fashion.
About 47% of unread tests
Shame on you, Hackensack University Medical Center.
were from those done on the day the patient left the hospital. Of the unread tests, 41% still had not been reviewed 2 months later.
Me Billy Bones.
Doctors may not look at the test results because some are routine screenings that are ordered before the doctor knows a patient is being discharged. Other times, no one takes responsibility to follow up on tests that come in long after the patient has gone home. For doctors, the message is that in our study, close to a half of the tests ordered on the day of discharge are never looked at again. Some of these are unnecessary tests and represent a major opportunity to save costs. Others are clinically significant and should be followed up. Actively managing tests ordered on or close to discharge day should thus have a major impact on the persistent problem of failure to follow up test results, improving care quality and reducing costs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep. Only in America would you have a healthcare system that's based on greed. You know, and they're so quick to say that Canada and Europe's healthcare system is not working. The Republicans say that. Yeah, they say you have to be. They ration everything out, and you're on a long waiting list, and they prioritize the free medical care. You know, you go on this list according to what they consider as an emergency and what's not an emergency. I don't know how true this all is. You know, could be conservative bullshit, hot air.
Hot air.
Could be
That's for
partially
balloons,
true.
right?
Yeah, well, if something is, hey, look, if you need to see a doctor in America and you go to the ER, you have an emergency, they prioritize who gets to see the doctor first according to your emergency.
Let's go back to Mr. Romney, the loser, for a moment.
The lying loser.
The most incisive reaction to Mitt Romney's disparaging comments about the 47% of us came from a conservative friend of mine. He emailed, "If I were you, I'd wonder why Romney hates America so much."
Oh, he hates the poor.
Well, the poor, my friend, and the lower middle class and the middle class today are almost in the same bucket. And now you're talking about maybe 270 million people?
Big group.
Or at least 210.
Then he alienates women,
That's 2/3 of the United States.
right? Alienates women and the poor, and yeah, 2/3 of the United States.
A bit strong, perhaps? But the more you think about what Romney said, the more you wonder how he really feels about the country he wants to lead, or wanted to lead. What kind of nation are we if nearly half of us are lazy, self-indulgent moochers who will never be persuaded to mend our ways? I'll never convince them they should take personal responsibility and care for their lives, Romney said, thus writing off a huge share of our citizenry. From his perch high atop the class structure, Romney offered an analysis of political motivations that even Marxists would regard as excessively materialistic. He speaks as if hard-working parents who seek government help to provide health care for their kids are irresponsible. That students who get government aid to attend community colleges are not trying to care for their lives. You know, back when, like, the government paid like 80% for the people to go to school. Today it's down to 20-some% or whatever.
You know, tuition is astronomically,
Yeah.
beyond astronomically high. It's downright a downright ripoff. I mean, come on, the tuition in America, ridiculous. A good education, including college, just like a decent health care should be a right, not a privilege.
Well, theoretically speaking, once it was. You know, we had the GI Bill, too, after World War II.
In a democracy, yeah.
And the veterans went to college for free.
But are they still, do they still have that or no?
I have no idea. But knowing Republicans being in office for how long, I would doubt it.
I wouldn't put it
I would
past
doubt it, because then why do we need all of these private charities and stuff like Wounded Warriors and stuff of this nature?
Yeah, why would they need so many charities for the veterans if they cared about the veterans?
Or if we were caring for them properly. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
well, didn't
Although the Veterans Administration medically is pretty darn good.
Didn't George McGovern once say that he's sick and tired of old men dreaming up wars for young men to die in?
Absolutely. But they do that, don't they?
And General Smedley Butler says war is a racket.
Correct, because it protects the big boys. And
Well,
he said something very important, which today we don't even give an iota of thought to. The military is for the defense of the nation, not going around the world and colonizing and having, what is it, over 1,000 bases in the world. You know, each time we do that, we provide money to those economies wherever we have bases. How about providing a little money or whatever to the economy here in the United States?
Right. Our borders in the United States were never threatened by Iraq or the nation of Afghanistan. It was only a small group of radical Islamic extremists.
And when you look back at it,
Yeah.
the reason it happened, that's correct.
War profiteering and oil.
No, I'm talking about why these 19 hijackers and 15 of them from Saudi Arabia were able to do what they did with box cutters.
Yeah.
Mind you, not nuclear weapons,
Box cutters.
but box cutters.
Humble little box cutters that you could buy in a dollar store.
And the reason it goes to money, as you said, because of the laxness upon the airlines. They want you to get through that line as fast as possible, baby.
The more people
On board.
you get on board, the faster they can get more people on board and more people on board and increase their profits.
And they did away with the sky marshals and all that stuff.
Oh, really?
That cost them a little movie.
Oh, really? No sky marshals.
Well, there are now.
So in other words, the safety of
mean nothing.
Means nothing
Didn't
of
mean
their
nothing.
customer. It means nothing. This is what happens when you deregulate businesses. Hey,
That's right.
weren't the Republicans trying to get rid of the Pell Grant for
Yes,
education?
of course.
Yeah.
They've got it down to nothing now.
Oh yeah.
You know, they don't want any. Look,
Drop in a bucket.
the proof is in the pudding. You see the states that support the Republicans.
Right. Biggest welfare states. A lot of the red states that support Republicans are the biggest
And what about
welfare states.
And what about education?
Sucks.
Correct.
Kaput.
Correct. Mississippi,
I like that word. Kaput.
one of the poorest states in this union,
Mississippi.
and it's all deliberate.
West Virginia.
It's all deliberate.
West Virginia too is poor, right?
Alabama, you know,
It's
all of
deliberate.
those. They're poor, and whatever federal money they get, they don't put it where it belongs.
Hey, they make look how many years they're making Puerto Rico linger. Do they want it to be a commonwealth? Do they want to grant them independence, or do they want statehood? Make up your friggin' mind. You know, they have their cake and eat it.
You know
Make
how
them
we
pay
got-
taxes if they want to be Americans.
You know how we got put? No, because the companies want to go over there and get cheap labor.
Oh, so they'll outsource everything.
They don't have to pay taxes. See?
Well, they don't have to
If
pay.
they become a state, then that stuff won't be able to be done. Oh, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
But
You know why we have Puerto Rico?
Teddy Roosevelt won it in the Spanish-American War.
Along with the Philippines and what was it? Cuba? Was it Cuba? I'm not sure. But yeah, those became our possessions. Well, what happened with the Philippines? Isn't that an independent thing
Yeah, they're
or whatever?
independent. I don't even think the big U.S. military base is still there. I think that they pulled out. No, they're independent.
Well, the point is that you know, these places like that, and Cayman Islands, and China, and Bangalore, and you know, India and stuff, they are used by big business to get cheap labor. And these things that you're talking about, like making statehood, these will change those laws. They don't like that. They don't like that.
So when you leave them all commonwealths, the labor is much cheaper than if you made them states, because all the rights
they would
we
have to
have.
make themselves states. We wouldn't do that.
Right, but then all the labor
Internal.
laws, and
Tax
that
laws
we
change.
enjoy in the Constitution that we are subject to, they will be subject to,
Right.
which
Correct.
means you couldn't pay them peanuts anymore.
Do they have peanuts in Puerto Rico?
Well, sure. Peanuts came from the Incas of Peru. Peanuts.
Puerto Rico is in the Caribbean. No, it's not that.
The
It's
Indian,
not down south.
the Indian name for peanuts, which happen to be a legume, they're not a true nut, is a cacahuate. Cacahuate.
Sounds like one of their gods.
Yeah,
Quetzalcoatl.
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 Cacahuate, yeah. No, the potato, the quinoa, and the peanut is all from the Peruvian, the Andes, the Peruvian Incas.
Anyway, to continue, has he never spoken with busboys, waitresses, hospital workers, janitors, who make too little pay to even pay income taxes, but work their hearts out to take personal responsibility? In defending himself on Fox News, Romney only deepened his difficulty. I think a society based upon a government-centered nation where government plays a larger and larger role, redistributes money, that's the wrong course for America, he said.
Redistributes money. So a rich person in America paying their fair share in income taxes is considered redistributing wealth.
Well,
to a
what is it
Republican.
called when you give subsidies to ExxonMobil?
He don't mention that.
No.
They call it subsidies. They don't call it welfare for the rich, which is what it really is.
Put aside that if President Obama wanted a government-centered nation, the stock market wouldn't have doubled, making many in Romney's Boca Raton audience richer. In his impatience with those he accuses of casting themselves as victims, Romney misses the real story of government in the lives of most Americans. So often we combine our own exertions with a little assistance along the way. The GI Bill, student loans, Social Security survivors benefits, public education, to become self-sufficient and independent. And Romney said not a word about all the redistribution upward in the tax code
Siphoning up the wealth, sure.
that favors investment over labor income. That's why Romney pays federal taxes at a much lower rate than many in the middle class. And why, given his stress on the importance of paying income taxes, he might usefully release a few more of his own tax returns, which he didn't, by the way. He got as far as he did by only releasing 2 years of his tax returns. Romney's statement has been widely compared to Obama's private 2008 comment about working class people who cling to guns or religion. I disliked that line, and as a church-going supporter of gun control, always bristle at the too easy conflation some liberals make of God and guns. But Obama's defenders have been correct in noting that he got a big thing right that Romney got wrong. Most of Obama's observations were empathetic toward blue-collar Americans who feel so betrayed by government.
Main Street, right? Blue collar.
His whole point was the need to reach out, not write off a constituency that had not embraced him. Many have already written wisely about how Romney's original statement got the facts wrong, notably about how many Americans actually pay federal taxes and how a large share of those who don't are retired. But here's the most important point Romney got wrong. Among the wealthy nations, it's difficult to find one where people work harder than the United States. In a 2005 New Yorker article, James Surowiecki noted that compared with Europeans, more people work in America, and since they work so many more hours, Americans create more wealth. Yes, the riches enjoyed by the folks at that Boca Raton fundraiser were made possible in significant part by the strenuous efforts of proud, self-sufficient people, including many in the 47%.
Sure, it's the elitists that are raking in the fruits of the little guy's labor.
And it's always been so. Go back to
It's
feudalism.
not the little guy.
Go back to feudalism. Okay, where the serf
Yeah.
worked the land and gave 90% of it to the big boy, the king, the baron, the whatever.
The little guy and the king owned everything. Owned the forest, the deer in the forest. You know, if you ever watch Robin Hood, you know you couldn't hunt in the king's forest, and if you shot one of his deer, it was his deer.
Shot.
I mean, an arrow. It's called shot. What'd you think it was? Poke?
A gun.
No, they used bows.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Shot.
Yeah, shoot the arrow.
Well, when you say shot, it looks like it was a gun.
I know.
And there were no guns in feudal time. Well, there were guns,
God.
I guess. You know?
You know, it's
One-shot gun. Something like
The
that.
fact
Who knows?
is, people, the common folk in America, believed the conservative propaganda, the lies, hook, line, and sinker, and they fell for it. And you know, the Republicans repeat the same nonsense over and over and over, and the people just believe it.
We have 12 years of tax cuts for the rich.
And look what we got.
No jobs. But they keep with that mantra.
Job creator, job killer, job creator, job killer.
Jobs, taxes,
Yeah.
cut, taxes.
Cut taxes. You heard Linda
History.
McMahon. Jobs. Create. Kill. Job. It's like Lost in Space. The robot on Lost in Space. It's the same bullshit.
Danger, Will. Danger, Will.
Danger, Will Robinson. It's the same thing, and the people, the idiots, the flip-floppers in America believe it.
They keep sucking for it.
And when are they going to get it through their thick skulls that the conservatives do not care about the little guy? They don't, and they keep on
Well,
believing it.
you know, the book they keep trying to have everybody read, people should read it. And read it correctly. Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand, and you'll see Republicans right there.
Hey.
They don't give a shit about nobody but themselves.
And and this is terrible. This is very hypocritical. According to their Bible.
Their Bible.
No, according to the Bible.
To the Bible.
Which they confiscate.
Yeah.
You know, they think is theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know it, of course, like we said before. But according to the Bible, everything Ayn Rand says is the devil's economics.
Absolutely.
The devil's economics, Mr. Paul Ryan.
Every single Republican leader or politician, except for Dwight D. Eisenhower, who's actually a pretty nice guy for a Republican.
Because he was a moderate. There were moderates.
He had compassion.
Republicans back then.
Dwight Eisenhower had compassion for the little guy, but not these horrible demons.
These voracious beasts.
Yeah, hey, it's all about fairness. Nobody's better than anybody else. It's about the tax system should be about fairness. You make more money, you pay more money.
That's how it's set up in the Constitution.
If you don't want to pay so much in taxes, don't make as much money.
Yeah. Sit on your damn ass and eat a watermelon on a curb like you accused the blacks of doing. All the time.
Yeah, and they're still talking about the what they did back in the, what is the 60s and 70s, about the welfare queen with all the kids.
80s.
The 80s, the welfare,
lies,
the welfare
lies,
cheat,
the lies,
welfare cheaters, the queens.
lies.
Friggin'
Lies.
Bob Grant, I don't know if he's still alive,
All
but
lies.
Bob Grant used to talk about the brood sows.
Yeah, all lies.
Women, single women with children, single mothers on welfare were called brood sows. They should be sterilized, he said. Mandatory Sterilization Act. So they would, which he's saying is, he's accusing these women of having babies so they
deliberately to get a welfare
so
payment.
they can get welfare and sit on their ass at home. That's what he was accusing them of doing,
You know, but nobody ever accuses the rich
of sitting on their ass
of
and
sitting at their asses at home, you know, letting their money make money,
their money's making money.
you know? I mean, back when people were a little more honest, we knew that a rich son was not going to go into business. He was not going to work.
You mean a
He
silver?
was denigrating
You mean
the work.
a silver spooner? Silver
Yeah.
spoon. What percentage do you think is actually self-made rags to riches?
None. Zero.
These people that are wealthy today in America.
Zero, because it's all depending on the infrastructure, the country you live in,
Breaks,
all the breaks, etc.
connections,
It's
breaks,
like, it's the truth.
breaks from who you know.
You didn't build that. If you have a business, you didn't build that.
You know what? Let's finish the show with that. President Barack Obama was right. Listen up. Top 30%. 30%? 20%? What do you want to say?
30%.
All right. Top 30%. You did not build that. And if it wasn't for government programs, and if it wasn't for subsidies with the Wall Street bailouts, gee, where would all these big businesses be?
Dead.
Interesting.
Romney misses something else about America. We do believe in a certain amount of redistribution toward those in need. We have always rejected what one of our leaders called a destructive mindset, which he defined as the idea that if government would only get out of our way, all our problems would be solved. An approach with no nobler purpose than leave us alone. That would be George W. Bush in 1999. Bush added, "Yet this is not who we are as Americans. We have always found our better selves in sympathy and generosity, both in our lives and in our laws. Our national character shines in our compassion." Yes, it does. Even if the Boca Raton Mitt Romney seems not to appreciate that about us. That's when George W. Bush was trying to become a compassionate conservative.
Well, he was becoming a compassionate conservative because he wanted more votes.
Because conservatism, of and by itself, has a bad reputation.
And rightfully so.
With having no compassion, as Rush Limbaugh has said many times. I have no compassion
Well, at least he admits it.
for the poor.
Hey, look, I'd rather have a scumbag tell me he's a selfish, greedy, no-good scumbag than to have him lie and pretend. At least I know where he's coming from, you know?
However, in the next breath, as it is mentioned in one of his books,
Yeah.
he claims to be a good Christian. And
How-
the two do not go together.
How is he a good Christian if everything Rush Limbaugh says is anti-God of the Bible? It's not even in the Bible. So how could he be a good
or
Christian?
non-compassionate?
Because he says so?
That's what it looks like.
I could say that if I concentrate hard enough, I will turn into a Marvel superhero and fly around and visit planets
You might
and
not look
save
good
people.
in tights.
Hey, I'm in great physical condition. You kidding? I'm a Palavan. I look good in tights. Believe me. How about you? You want to fly around in tights?
Hell no.
You know whose outfit looked really funny looking? Underdog. What a stupid looking outfit he had. It was like boxy, like SpongeBob.
What was the program? I keep forgetting. Oh, The
What?
Greatest American Hero
Oh, I don't like that jabroni.
with the magic suit.
I don't like any hero that starts off being a meek, mild, nerdy guy
What about Mantis?
that goes into a friggin' phone booth and
Mantis.
I like macho heroes with muscles. Mantis? I'm not familiar with Mantis. I mean, I know about praying
He
mantises.
was disabled.
Mantis was disabled?
Mantis was disabled
But that's
until
different.
he put the suit on.
That's different. Disabled is different. I'm talking about just an annoying person. Like when I was in high school, I had this guy in my class named Eugene. He was a know-it-all. He got high grades. I got to give him credit. But he was a pest. Oh my God. He got smacked around a few times, but so I grew up, going to a rough school, but he was really a pest, and he went out of his way to be annoying. And he was a geek, he was a nerd. He had stupid glasses on, and everything, but but to do a show with somebody like that who annoys people to just become a superhero, no. I vote for the villains in that case.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, on that note, at least we ended with some levity. These are old-fashioned jingle bells, man, as you could see, antiques. Hey, we're funny. We're witty. We're unpredictable. It's unrehearsed. I know people have criticized us for not reading a script and not rehearsing, but then we will be talking heads like the rest of the media, right? We don't want that. We follow the Jackie Gleason system. You start with basic themes and you just let it flow.
Let it flow, Flo.
Let it flow, Flo. Flow. Oh. Okay, say so long to these people.
So long, these people.
And this includes all you
Aye.
jabroni flip-floppers out there that can't make up their mind
Let me get my shoe.
who they really want to vote
Get
for.
my shoe here first.
They go for Romney and then they vote a Democrat senator or congressperson. They go for Obama, then they vote in a Republican senator or congressperson. Make up your damn mind. You know, the American voter, the actual American, is a very strange bird compared to other people throughout the world. Very illogical, you know, very wacky, you know?
That's illogical, Spock.
Yes, Spock was right.